Ooh, what's up? What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another session of Coffee and Martial Arts. Salute, 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 cheers. Yes, sir. Oh, yes, good coffee this morning. Yes, sir. And amazing guest as usual. I always have so many different great guests. You know, like I said, I'm so lucky and blessed to have this platform and to be able to interview so many wonderful martial artists and amazing individuals that they have all this, stories to tell, to share their passion, their gifts, and all of their abilities and all of the things and experiences that they have had and created in a lifetime in the martial arts. So today, it's no exception. But before we go to our guest, you know me, I have to say the proper announcements, okay? I want to remind you that we are going live through our Facebook page, Master Frank Soto Kinetic Dragon. So please follow us and like the page. That helps a lot with the algorithm. And if you want to share some stars, do so. That also helps a lot with the algorithm so we can reach more people with this positive message about the martial arts, okay? May I remind you that this show is for you, and without you, this doesn't work, okay? So please leave your comment or ask your questions. That also helps a lot, okay? We're also going live through our YouTube channel, the Kinetic Dragon channel. So please like and subscribe, like the video and subscribe to the channel and click on the little bell so you get notified every time we go live. And we're going live more often now, okay? So yesterday we had a coffee and martial arts session as well, and also today. And we're also going live, of course, in our version in Espanol, okay? We're also going live through our Facebook page, the Internacional Hall of Fame, Internacional with a C because it's in Spanish, Espanol, Hall of Fame of Argentina. Great group of martial artists led by Master Juan Martin Alvarez, that they're doing an amazing job there. And they have a magazine as well. This is the cover of last month. This month should be out very soon. Okay, so they do it, still put it on paper. That's the only one down there. Is also print on paper, but also, of course, digital, so you can get it anytime. Okay, good. Let's see. So like and share this video, leave a comment, please, or ask questions, okay? That always helps. So let's, today, okay, we have a great guest, like I said, an amazing martial artist that comes from Miami, Florida. Yes, sir. Okay. And this gentleman, let me share the picture. I'm sorry. Here we go. Yes. Sifu Alfred Magnan from Magnan Martial Arts School of Self-Defense. Okay, he is a third degree. He has a third degree black belt in American Kenpo. Okay, he also has a purple belt in Gracie JiuJitsu, and he's proud to be a How can I put it? Doing the original curriculum from Grandmaster Helio Gracie. Okay, so this it's going to be good. Okay, he's also a sorry about this. Okay, he's also a crew in Muay Thai, a full instructor in Krava Maga, and a phase 1 instructor in JKD and Cali. Okay, so we have a lot of experience and a lot of knowledge in the martial arts right here. And he has been in the martial arts for basically 40 years, okay? He started back in 83. He's around my age, so that's good. I actually started in 84, so he beat me in that one. He started a year younger than me. So this is really, really cool. I'm very happy to have with us today Sifu Alfred Magnan from Miami. Hello, sir.
How are you today, sir?
Good. How are you?
I'm fantastic. It's an honor to be here on the show with you. That's a heck of an intro, man. I
Oh, well,
appreciate
it's all
that.
true. So you're the man of the hour today, and thank you so much for accepting the invitation. I'm honored to have you here on the show and to be able to interview you, sir.
My pleasure. My pleasure. I'm excited.
Okay. So every time we start with a new show and I have a new guest, I always start with the same question. Okay, to open up, uh, can you share a little bit of how you started in the martial arts? We know you started in '83. I already mentioned that because you mentioned that to me prior, and how you got to where you're at today. Just briefly, because we only have 1 hour
Yeah.
and we're going to ask more questions. So,
Okay. All right. So I basically started, like you said, in 1983. I was 10 years old. My father was an engineer, and he had a very dear friend that had just enrolled his son in a judo class. And he kept always raving to my dad about the benefits of judo and how this instructor was amazing, which he was. Professor Lorenzo Mesa, rest in peace, from Banzai Judo School. I started with him at the age of 10. He was a Cuban champion in judo, old school, like pre-World War II judo.
wow,
I started with him at the age of 10,
nice.
and that was my first involvement in the martial arts. The moment I saw those mats and I saw him throwing people, and see, he would line up a bunch of guys, and they would stand with their body folded in half. You've seen this before. And we were required to run, jump over the people, and do a forward roll.
Nice.
And I remember seeing kids jumping over six kids, and I was like, "Wow, this is amazing! I want
Wow.
to be a part of this." Right. So I started in judo. Make a long story short, got to junior orange in judo.
Okay.
spent about it like 2 years training, and then
Nice.
I was enamored by Bruce Lee movies. And I kept telling my dad, judo's cool, but I'm not kicking. And I want to start kicking, right? I was watching all these movies. I wanted to start kicking people in
Of
the head,
course.
right? I wanted to kick people in the head. So at the age of 12, I started in Taekwondo with a very prominent instructor down here in Miami, rest in peace as well, Grandmaster Byung Ho Choi. He was a ninth dan in
Wow.
Taekwondo, even back then, like hardcore. That
Wow.
kind of military type training, where if you were out of line, they would make you do push-ups on your knuckles while they would hit you with a wooden shanai
Of
type
course.
thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
back in the day,
Yeah.
that's I spent about 2 years doing Taekwondo, got my junior black belt.
Wow.
Then got into high school sports for a couple years, and everything just kind of started to evolve from there. Interesting, quick story. At 12 years old, I was in seventh grade. This is when I knew I was going to do martial arts my whole life. I
Okay.
was in seventh grade, and there was a class bully, which I'll just say his last name, which I think is very fitting. Guerrero,
Wow. Warrior.
warrior, right? Class bully that would pick on everybody in school, usually around PE time by the lockers, and had never picked on me before for whatever reason. Picks on one of my buddies and is about to punch him, slam him into lockers. And I say, "Hey, man, why don't you cut it out? You're always bullying everybody. What's your problem?" Then he turned to me and
Of
goes,
course.
"Oh, now I got a problem with you." At which time I was shaking like you wouldn't believe. I was like, "Oh boy, why did I get this started?" I was, you know, so skinny. I was like a toothpick, right?
Okay.
Um, I was 12 years old. I already had about 2 years of judo training. He
Okay.
swung at me, and all I did was what we had been doing that week in judo.
Nice.
I moved into center, hip through him, and got him in case of gatami, and held on for dear life. Because this kid was strong. It was one of these kids that looked like a man at 12. You know what I'm
Right.
talking about, right?
Right. Right. Yeah.
And I just held on for dear life to the point where I guess I was putting so much pressure on him in that pin that he started crying.
Wow.
That day was everything for me.
Of
Because
course.
everyone started saying, wow, I can't believe it that you did that to Guerrero. Unbelievable. Turns out he actually became my friend later because he asked me, hey, man, you got to teach me some of that stuff. And
Sure.
what is that? And in all honesty, I was scared to death. You know,
Of
I
course.
just, I was like, I never really been in a fight like that. And this kid, you know, was always fighting in the halls. I wasn't that kind of kid. You know, I was into sports and martial arts. And so right there, I knew this was going to be a life journey for me,
Nice.
you know?
Nice. Very interesting. Very
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah.
Can you explain what kesagatame is to the audience?
Sure. So Keisagatami is a position where when the person is on their back, you're getting on their side,
Mhm.
grabbing their neck, pinning their arm, and spreading your legs into a wide base.
That's basically like the first thing they teach you, the first negwasa they teach you in judo, right?
Pretty much, yeah. Yeah, there's Keisagatami, which is actually where you're wrapping the head, and then there's Kuzuri Keisagatami, or broken scarf hold, which is where you're controlling the arm or you have your hand under their armpit, but you're not necessarily controlling their head. Knowing you, you're probably trying to look it up there on a
I'm
video.
going to put it on screen. Yeah, I know what kesagatame is. Yes, of course.
Yeah.
But not everybody does so.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, it's a great, it's part of the Osei Komi Wazas, the hold downs, and it's a great pinning position. It also has its drawbacks. If you're a jiu-jitsu player, it's pretty easy to counter if you in Brazilian jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, but we're talking what, 83, 84?
Well, we're talking at that time 85, around there. Yeah.
Yeah, so no Brazilian jiu-jitsu in the mainstream yet.
No.
So people didn't know how to get out of that. And it's a good pin, right? It's a good
it's a great pin. Yeah.
Okay. We have a couple of people saying hello. Let me just say hello. Maestro Gonzalo Reyes. Good morning, Master Frank Soto. Buenos días, mi estimado. Good morning. Master Juan Martín Álvarez. Saludos, Master. Abrazo grande desde Argentina. Gracias. Saludos.
Nice.
Saludos. Catherine Sumter. Hello, Master Frank and Sifu Alfred. Cheers from all of us at CCDP Worldwide, Washington State. Looking forward to hearing more about your stick fighting experiences.
Salute. Thank you. Thank you for chiming in.
Carlos Hernandez. Greetings from Miami. Sifu Magnan just brought back some memories. Mesa had his school in 8th Street.
Yep.
He was all school instructor, very disciplined.
Yes. Sifu Carlos Hernandez, he's a great martial artist, a student of Grandmaster Manny Reyes. He's been around in the game a long time as well. We were also on the same fight team back in the early 90s, where we competed locally for the Florida Black Belt Association in point fighting. And yeah, he's been around the block.
Cool. Thank you, Sifu. Thank you for sharing. Thank you. Maestro Tony Capone. Hello, Mr. Soto. Hey, Alfred. Alfred is one of the most well-rounded martial artists I know.
Thank you, sir. Tony is as hardcore as they come.
Yeah. Let me share. I think I have him in a photo here. Where is it? Oh, man. Where are you?
He's in that photo with Tatum and I.
That's the one. Yes.
Yes, sir. Yeah. Tony Capone is as hardcore as they come. The guy has recently had 2 knee replacement surgeries, basically. And within a few weeks, he was already practicing his forms. One of the few guys with the years under his belt, okay? Because he goes back to the 70s, I believe.
Wow.
With years under his belt that still get on the mat and train with the rest of us. So kudos to Mr. Capone. He's, like I said, he's hardcore.
Thank you for commenting, sir. It's nice to hear from you. Take care. Joe Rivas says, hey, Sifu Alfred.
Joe Rivas, that is my first Muay Thai student that I promoted to associate instructor. He taught in the last couple years that I ran my commercial school. He taught all of the Muay Thai classes.
Wow.
And he also competed at the amateur level, and has won multiple middleweight amateur titles. He's also hardcore, very disciplined. Before coming to me to train Muay Thai, he had a black belt in Yoshitsune JiuJitsu,
Nice.
the De Pascal lineage,
Okay.
the father.
Okay. Nice. Okay.
Very good martial artist as well.
Mr. Capone says, thanks, guys. Thank you, maestro. Okay, so I'm sorry I interrupt you a little bit. Okay, we have one more comment here. Alberto Contreras, good morning for two great martial arts masters. Thank you, sir. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Alberto.
Okay, so you were talking how this experience changed your life basically and put you or reaffirm your path, right, in the martial arts. So,
yes, sir.
But you didn't finish the story. We were just getting started with your story of your background stuff. So can you please go on, sir?
Yeah. So sorry, I wrote down some notes here just to remember the timelines.
That's
so
okay.
once
We're getting old, sir. That's okay.
Yeah.
We need notes now.
Too many hits to the head.
Exactly.
I was in Taekwondo for about 2 years.
Okay.
Till I was about 14. I got my junior black belt. And then two things happened to me, actually. High school sports. I started playing basketball. That was one of my passions as well. Basketball and tennis competitively. And at that same time, I was about 14 years old. I was rushing my mother to get me to Taekwondo practice. And I had my white gi on, and we head out the road. We head out to practice. I think she had just come home from work, and I was like, I gotta get to class. I used to like to get there early, because if I got there early before anybody was there, Master Choi at the time would be very cool. He would ask me to clean, or he would ask me to go get Chinese food for him right in the same shopping center, like 2 stores down. And for me, I was like, wow, Master Choi is like trusting me to get him his Chinese food, right? So I always wanted to be there early. We were running a little bit behind schedule. And as my mother crossed an intersection, we were hit by a truck.
Oh.
I was 14 years old. Car spun. We hit a light post. And when I looked, first thing I did was I looked at myself because I saw blood on my uniform, right? I looked at myself, and then I opened up the little visor, and I checked my face, and I didn't see anything on me. When I looked to my left, my mom was, oh my gosh, a disaster. Her face hit the windshield. So it was kind of a traumatic event. She was perfectly fine. She had one of the best surgeons that took care of her.
Okay.
But after that, and seeing all the blood on my white uniform, I kind of didn't want to go back to Taekwondo.
I got you.
So that was kind of, I put a halt to that. And at the same time, I was starting high school sports. So that kind of took a back seat from like 14 to 16 years old, 17 years old. When I was about 16 or 17, I went to Sifu Dwight Woods. For those of you that are familiar with JKD, he has a I Love Jeet Kune Do, and Sifu Dwight Woods is one of the most senior Jeet Kune Do and Kali instructors in Miami. And he's also a senior full instructor under Guru Dan Inosanto. I started training with Sifu Dwight when I was about 16 or 17. And when I get home from school, it was, basketball, tennis, Jeet Kune Do and Kali. Basketball, tennis, Jeet Kune Do and Kali. And it was a very broad curriculum. He had classes. Yeah, that's Sifu Dwight right there. Highly respect the man. Phenomenal martial artist. Just as good as they come in JKD, right?
Nice.
And
nice.
I started training with him as well, and it was classes like I'd attend like a Monday night Jun Fan Gung Fu class. That would be Monday. And then like on Wednesday, it would be Boxe Français Savate, would be Wednesday. And then Friday would be Kali followed by Muay Thai. So that's how I got that immersion into, from a young age, already having a mindset of being well-rounded. You know,
Gotcha.
he would play music in his classes. So he'd have music playing and we would be, shadow boxing, jumping rope, training like an athlete in those classes, which I thought was really cool. And it went very well with my tennis and my basketball. I felt like my attributes were being fully developed also
Nice.
through JKD. A lot of people don't understand that before I even started Kenpo, I was a judo, taekwondo, and JKD guy before I
Wow.
even started Kenpo.
Wow.
Okay. And that was circa 89, 90.
Okay.
I finally got to Kenpo at 90, like in 91 or 92. I
Okay.
always try to think back at it. I'm not sure exactly. It was 91 or 92. And the way I got into that, actually, the one thing that frustrated me about JKD at the time,
Mm-hmm.
and Sifu Dwight and I have laughed about this, I
Okay.
would ask him a question and I would say, hey, where can I find this written down? And he'd be like, man, you're missing the whole point. And he was always very philosophical. He'd be like, ignore the finger type thing, ignore the finger pointing at the moon. Right?
Yeah.
That to me was a bit frustrating because I felt like, I was like, okay, I'm doing Jun Fan on one day, I'm doing Kali on another. And we laughed about this later in life, because later he started to write stuff down and develop a curriculum, right?
Nice.
And
I miss your image, sir.
can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah. It says it has lost connection to the camera.
Yep.
Don't know. Let's see here.
That's weird. Is it a cell phone or a laptop? Oh, okay. Now we lost him a little bit. Okay, let's hopefully he'll be back. Carlos Hernandez says, I totally agree with Mr. Capone. I've had the privilege to train and see Sifu Magnan teach at his studio. Awesome martial artist and very knowledgeable. Nice. Okay. Master Bagelis Drossus, Master Frank, salute. Salute, sir, all the way to Greece. Thank you. Okay, we're having some technical issues. Let's just wait until he connects back and hopefully we'll be back on track, okay? So if you have any more questions, any comments, please do so, okay? He is trying to reconnect. He should be back in a moment, okay? No worries. Let's see. Okay, let's just wait a little bit. So I always want to say thank you guys, everybody that's watching this. This is super cool. And the story that he's telling us, it's just getting better and better. So he was just getting started with the Kenpo stuff. Let's hope he can get reconnected so we can go at it. Okay. So meantime, okay, Carlos Hernandez says, salute, Master Frank. Salute, Sifu. Thank you. Thank you. Salute to you as well. Thank you so much. Okay, so let's share some of the photos that we have here. Let's see. Nice. Okay, and let me take this off. Thank you, sir. Okay, and we have some of the Kenpo stuff as well. He was just getting started with it. Also, the Gracie JiuJitsu stuff. There we go. Let's hope he can reconnect. We were doing so well. Sorry about this. Okay. Nice. So we need to hear all the stories about this. Okay. Let's see. We saw that one. Mr. Okay. That's the group. Nice. Okay. Okay. We're just waiting a little bit. Let's see what is going on here. I don't know what happened. Hopefully he can reconnect. Let's see. Sorry about this, guys, but this happens in a live show, okay? So, if anything wants to talk about anything, bring a comment or anything, I'm here, okay? I'm just going to have to wait a little bit for Sifu Magnan to get reconnected. I just got to say, I'm sorry about this, but it's not the first time something like this happens. It's part of the deal, right? So Let's just hope it wasn't nothing, you know, that he cannot get fixed. Let's see if he can. So we'll wait a little bit more. There he is. Okay, we got him back. Let's see. Hey,
I had to switch to my phone for some reason. The laptop stopped working.
well, that's weird.
Yeah, it's weird. So no biggie. We're back.
Okay, let me bring the volume up. Okay, so you were saying, sir?
Yeah. Like I think I left off with Sifu Dwight. I was training with him about 89, 90. But I was frustrated with the fact that I didn't have something that I can review and look at. I'm a very academic person. I like to write things down, take notes. I mean, if you look at my library at my house, it's like every martial arts book you can imagine, and it's all highlighted to death with Post-it notes on it, right? So that's the kind of guy I am. I'm also a teacher by profession.
Okay.
So I guess it's in my DNA. So a very good friend of mine, I was hanging out with him one day, and he tells me, yeah, you know, I loved when I was training with you also in JKD, but I didn't like that. We didn't know what we were going to do one day. One day we were doing one thing. One day we were doing the other. I didn't know how I would get ready for testing. So I started at a local school, and they teach Kenpo Karate. And I said, oh, Kenpo, wow, what exactly is that? And he tells me, well, let me show you something. And he starts showing me, I think it was, it may have been Lone Kimono that he showed me. And I was like, oh, but wait a minute. You guys actually like learn defenses against attacks? Because we do a lot of shadow boxing and we hit mitts, but we've never done anything if someone grabs you. And he goes, oh yeah, this is all we do. Look, let me show you my yellow belt manual. And I go, what?
Wow.
You have all this written down? And he's like, oh yeah, there's books and everything. So so I went to a local that had just opened right by my house. Actually, one of Grandmaster Manny Reyes' top students at the time.
Okay.
Sifu Reyes, phenomenal martial artist. I went to his school, and I tell him, you know, hey, tell me a little bit about this Kenpo. And he goes, well, better yet, I'll share some with you. And he asked me to grab him in a headlock, and he did grasp of death on me. And when he pinched the flesh of my thigh, I went, oh my God. He did it so quickly. I was sold. And I enrolled that same day with Sifu Reyes, West Side Dojo, it was called. And that was a phenomenal experience because it was a fight school. He had what he called the RICA fight team, Reyes Kenpo Association fight team, and all the guys on that fight team were multiple time state champs.
Okay.
So the guys you were going up against in sparring, you really had to elevate your level because it was back in the day when no such thing as point fighting. It was we're gonna smack you and we're gonna smack you hard, right? So it was more like today's continuous fighting. You know, especially the training sessions. We wouldn't stop after every point. We would keep going. It was almost like full contact. You know? That was, I trained with him till about 97. You know, did the whole tournament scene, competitions. It's funny because sometimes I would go to class and I'd be like, okay, I just need to learn 3 more techniques for this belt. And I'll have all the techniques for the belt. You know, they would check them off.
Uh-huh.
Back in the day, they would check them off.
Right.
And it was, rest assured, just when I thought we would be going over techniques, he would say, guys, glove up. And it was like almost every class was sparring and more sparring. But I loved it. I still, to this day, when I see him, I credit him for turning me into a fighter.
Nice.
He was like multiple time state champion. He fought Billy Blanks in Square Garden back in the day. Like phenomenal martial artist. I trained with him till 97, And in 97 was that era where the whole Taibo thing was huge.
Right.
Give or take, that era. And he got so many female kickboxing students that he stopped teaching his Kenpo class down south where I was. I'm in South Miami,
Right.
more what they call Kendall. He kept his Hialeah school near Grandmaster Reyes, but he closed my school, and I kind of stayed orphan from Kenpo from 97 till about 2000.
Okay.
And then during that time, I trained kickboxing with some Cuban kickboxing champions, Manny Garcia and Manolo. Those of you that are familiar with Eric El Tigre Castaños, he's been a world champion kickboxer. These were guys that trained with Eric El Tigre. Spent time training kickboxing with him, did some shoot fighting with Bart Vale, all during that time that I was kind of like an orphan from Kenpo, which was about 2 or 3 years. And then I finally met Mr. Kelly. Started training with Mr. Kelly in the year 2000. 2000 was a pivotal year for me. 99, 2000 was a pivotal year. Yep. Yeah, it was that was a pivotal year for me. I had kind of like a heart-to-heart with my wife, and my wife was like, hey, listen, if you want to be the best of the best, you got to train with the best, and I'll support you wherever you need to go. So I started training with Mr. Kelly. I traveled to California and trained with Sensei Eric Paulson in shoot wrestling and combat submission wrestling. Fun story. Some of you guys already know this story. So he picks me up at the airport. I'm so excited to go train with Eric Paulson. We train out of Hermosa Beach at Boxing Works.
Okay.
He had a space of mat there reserved just for us. Spent 2 days, Friday, Saturday, and half of a day Sunday training with him before I got my flight back home. Get there Friday. We spent about 8 hours training.
Nice.
And there's a video out there. I'm sure he has it. I have it somewhere on those little tapes that I'd love to convert it, which is basically him tapping me continuously, doing the first lock flows from Shuto on the ground, tapping me every which way you can imagine, and me basically screaming from the pain, right? So that was quite an interesting experience with Sensei Paulson. I went to a stuntman party with him. It was like living the California martial arts life with Sensei Paulson. The second day, like I said, we spent like 8 to 10 hours of training. Second day, we train also 8 to 10 hours. And my back gives out on me, right? I couldn't move from all him pinning me and submitting me. And it was crazy. That night, and I always tell people, Sensei Eric Paulson tucked me into his bed, which he gave up to me. He said, no, man, you're going to sleep on my bed. I'm going to sleep in the couch. He tucked me in, gave me Tylenols, and I felt so well guarded and protected by Sensei Paulson that it's a funny story. I always tell people, and they're like, oh, man, you were like, whatever. He turned you into his whatever. And I was like, hey, man, it is what it is. He took care of me, though. After all those hours of training with him.
Right.
He's a good guy. Whenever I've seen him at a seminar years after, we kind of laugh about that. So, yeah, 2000 was that pivotal year. I said, you know what? Whoever I can get my hands on to train with, I'm going to do that. If it involves traveling. So I trained with him in 98, 99. I went with Sensei Eric Paulson. Started with Mr. Kelly in 2000. 99, 2000, started with Mr. Kelly. I was with Mr. Kelly for 14 years. To this day, I owe a great debt to him. He is one of my major influences in my Kenpo. I'm not afraid to admit it. Everything I've tried to do in Kenpo is emulate the way he taught me. And I'm very appreciative of that. In that same year, 2000, here's another funny story. I have a student of mine, not really a student of mine, a co-worker of mine,
Okay.
that says to me, "Hey, I wanna learn some martial arts. You gotta teach me some of that cool stuff." So I go to his community and I'm teaching him out of a racquetball court. And a young guy, drives by us in a golf cart. And he was like security guard for one of the security guys or maintenance guys for that rental community. And he says, "Oh, what are you guys doing?" And my friend says, "Oh, he's teaching me martial arts." And he goes, "Oh man, you mind if we kind of go at it a little bit?" And I was like, my head was a little bit inflated. I had been a tournament competitor and I had done pretty well in tournaments.
Oh no.
Oh, look at this guy, challenging me here in front of my friend that I'm teaching him. Whatever, let's go. We'll go right now. And make a long story short, I threw a roundhouse kick to his head because I was always a kicker.
Okay.
He closed the gap. He took me down and he caught me in an Americana.
Ah.
Very quickly. Oh man, imagine, what do you say, right? And you have the guy that you've like been teaching, this guy like looks up to you and you were teaching him and you just got basically tapped out. So I said, there's no way. I've done a little bit of shoot fighting, but I found out that he had been, he told me later, he goes, "Oh, I'm a student of Marcus Conan Silveira. One of the old school guys, Gracie JiuJitsu. He was one of the founders of American Top Team, and he still teaches at American Top Team. Big guy. He fought in Extreme Fighting Championship, UFC. And that was an eye opener, man. That was an eye opener. I said, man, I love Kenpo. I love all this, but look how quickly this kid closed the gap on me, took me down, and submitted me. It was pretty embarrassing for me. So I looked up Pedro Valente, or as he would say, Pedro Valenche, in Gracie JiuJitsu, the Elio Gracie method. They're very, that's what they do. And went to talk to him, signed up with him in 2000. That's why I say 2000 was such a pivotal year, wow, that era, because that's when I said, man, I got to seek out the best in every range possible to be a complete fighter. Always with the mentality of self-defense comes first. Can I survive a violent encounter at any range? And that's always been my mindset when I train, and I was one of the, I want to say the first, even though he says, "Were you the first?" He wasn't sure. I want to say I was the first. If I wasn't, I was maybe first two that completed the Elio Gracie private 40 lesson program. That if you look on YouTube, it's out there. There's a video of Elio training with Horian's kids. Yeah, that's me with Elio there at Valente Brothers headquarters. I completed that 40 lesson program with Pedro Valente, and then Elio Gracie came into town after about a year and a half of training with Pedro. Elio Gracie comes into town, and I say, you know what? I have to do a private with Elio. When will you ever get a chance to do a private with Elio, right? So I did a private with Elio, and Pedro will confirm this because it was a very special moment for both of us. At the end of the private, Elio basically, and it was a class packed with students right after there was a group class. He looked at me and he told Pedro, I've never seen a guy with his size that I was able to teach to not use his size and strength, to strictly focus on technique. So that day, he said, because of your ability to teach a guy his size, I'm 6'4", and I've lost weight. I've lost like 36 pounds, right? So I'm 6'4", 293 pounds right now, right? So I'm a decent sized guy. He told Pedro, because of your ability to teach a guy like him to use strictly technique, I'd like to promote you to your second degree. So Pedro got his second degree that day.
Wow.
And then at the same time, I was promoted to my blue belt. So that was really cool. That was, I mean, that to me, you know, is one of those amazing moments with Elio Gracie and with Pedro Valente there, you know. So so that was I'm trying. Let me know if I'm going too long. You know, I can.
No. Please continue. Come on, man. No. This is amazing. This is so cool.
That was 2000. In that same year of 2000, I started seeing a lot of magazines on Krav Maga, and I researched it thoroughly. I got every book that was around, and I found out about a guy that was teaching people out of Miami Beach, and he was one of the guys that went to Israel and learned the system. A guy by the name of Rick Blitzstein. So I sought him out in Miami Beach, took a couple of group classes. And when I say a couple, I literally mean a couple, like 2 or 3 group classes to try it out, because it was so far from me. It was in Miami Beach, which is like in traffic, an hour drive. Right. Took a couple classes. I found it very interesting. Its simplicity, its aggression. Mainly, more than anything, it was the training methods. Not that anything was so fascinating or so different than Kenpo. It was the way they would develop you in the training method. That was my first exposure to Krav Maga. Took a few classes with him out of a gym in Miami Beach. And then I also did a couple of privates with him out of Miami Beach. It always stayed in the back of my mind, but the distance was too far. You know, kept doing my thing, kept training in Kenpo. Ultimately, in 2007, when I started with Mr. Kelly in 2000, I was a green belt. Remember, I had trained with Sifu Rizeri from white to green, and then I was left orphan, right? I was a green belt, and Mr. Kelly said, hey, you know, I'm going to honor your belt, but let's start from the top. Let's start from the top, you know, delayed sword destruction, going through the program. I got my provisional in 2007. In 2009, always keeping that Krav Maga thing in the back of my mind, I met someone that would become one of my best friends now, Master Julio Anta. Very prominent instructor in Miami, has run an extremely successful school for many years. He's originally a Hung Gar Kung Fu practitioner under Grandmaster Bill Chung. I started training in the Haganah / fight system with him. And he was like a training partner, going through all of the Haganah and fight system with him, which is an Israeli system. The creator of that system, Mike Lee Konerik, very famous guy, been on Black Belt magazine, you know. He created the fight system, which Julio had gone through the program. But Julio wanted someone to train with one-on-one all the time through the program. So I was like, it's perfect, because this is my Krav Maga right here. And till now, he's still one of my training partners. So that was my initial real deep immersion into Israeli martial arts, which was in about 2009.
Okay. Give me a second, because we have a lot of people saying hello. Is that okay?
Absolutely.
Okay. Let's see. I already put this when you were missing a little bit, but let's say it again. Carlos Hernandez says, I totally agree with Mr. Capone. I've had the privilege to train and see Sifu Magnan teach at his studio. Awesome martial artist and very knowledgeable.
Thank you, sir.
Maestro Miguelis Drosos from Greece. Master Frank, salud. Salud, sir. Jorge Sanchez says, hi, Frank. Hi, Jorge. Jardinero says, and es un toro, Sifu Alfred.
That's awesome.
Jorge says, and again, viva el Kenpo. Okay. Okay, he says, we are all here because we love and live Kenpo. Thank you, sir.
Amen to that.
Okay. Ismael says, saludos, Master Frank, and to Sifu Magnan. Saludos, my friend. Gracias.
Saludos. Gracias por estar.
He said, Kenpo is very special because this system trained almost everything exists to be a great fighter. Okay. He's from Ecuador, so.
Okay, awesome. Awesome.
Thank you, sir. Jorge Sanchez says, Magnan Kenpo is amazing art. Benny El Jet is one of the best in the world of kickboxing. Sure thing.
Yes, he is.
Liga Jing says, saludos a ambos. Saludos. Master Liga Jing, Wing Chun, Puerto Rico. Saludos, Master.
Awesome.
Marisol Céspedes Aranda, big hug from Chile. And greetings to both of you. Gracias,
Marisol. Thank you for being on.
Let's see. Oh, a familiar face here. Master Sean Kelly. Alfred Magnan is not only a great friend, but a very schooled martial artist. We are all family. Thank you, Master Soto, for keeping the flame burning. Thank you, sir.
Mr. Kelly, thank you so much. It means a lot.
Guru Catherine Sumter says, loving your story, Sifu. So many peak experiences. Anything stand out to you about your Kali?
Kali was one of my, how can I say, it was a love-hate thing with Kali, because with Sifu Dwight, we would do so many drills, you know, double stick, single stick, abecedario this, abecedario that, angles 1 through 12. He's got 3 different versions of angles 1 through 12, depending on the system, whether it's the Inasano Lacoste blend or the Villa Brill system. It was a necessary evil in my arsenal, just getting my hands to move faster and getting the coordination. My wife would tell me, oh God, don't tell me that I have to train with you, Kali, again tonight. And I would put 2 sticks in her hand and I would tell her, hey, we're doing heaven and earth. We're doing standard 6, open 4, whatever the case may be. It was just one of those things that I had to ingrain. I actually wish I had more time to devote to Kali. It's a great system, and there's so much overlap and between the Kenpo and the Kali. Oh man, if you understand the Kali and you understand the Kenpo, it's like Kenpo on steroids. You know, it's amazing what it can do to your Kenpo. And you know what I found was, by going outside the art, and I've heard this said before, you realize what you have inside the art. And I think we all kind of go through this process. Even a couple years back, I was in this mode of, I have to fix Kenpo.
Yeah, I got you.
You know,
and
I would talk to my friends and I would even tell them, hey, you know what I'm taking out of the curriculum? I'm going to take this out of the curriculum because, you know, I don't think this is effective. And then one day, it's funny. Like, it took a conversation with Grandmaster Larry Tatum, where he came down to Sifu Carol White's school, and I had heard this before. This wasn't anything new. Maybe it was just the way he disseminated that information to me. He basically said, Kenpo is nothing but, this is a case study. I don't tell people this is the technique you use to defend yourself against this. That's not how I approach teaching the self-defense techniques. He said, it's a case study where you're learning rules and principles, and then you apply those rules and principles. This isn't a surefire self-defense technique against an attack. If you view it that way, you're always going to have people saying, yeah, but what if... It is a case study, and that's where you learn all of your fundamentals, all of your principles, all of your concepts. And I was like, you know what? You're absolutely right. And then I did some more reading. And the more you start diluting and thinking that you're above the system, is my opinion now, after having been there and taking stuff out, then you realize, well, what do you have left? Then you have Alfred Magnan's Kenpo, Joe Suarez's Kenpo, you know, Tony Capone's Kenpo, and then you have everybody's Kenpo. But what happens to the mother art? Like, what happens to what Ed Parker laid down for us?
Right.
beautifully engineered,
Sure.
right?
Yeah, oh yeah.
You know what? Everything I teach on the side. So, like, for example, if you look at my curriculum, I'm very detailed with my curriculum. Like I said, I'm a teacher. So I do lesson plans, and I've codified my system where I've really researched my own experiences, absorbed what is useful, rejected what is useless, what I feel useless or unuseful, and added what is specifically my own. Okay, I've really taken to that. As I've codified my system, now I'll break down the attacks. Not so much. I try to stick to the web of knowledge, right? And I try to stick to the order. But I'll teach a defense against a headlock from the side, for example, the pincher or a grasp of death.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll teach right after it. Now, this is the Krav defense. This is the way they approach this.
Nice.
Always giving credit to where the system comes from.
Sure.
But then I tell them, but I don't even want you to think about it that way. I just want you to think of it as motion. So don't label it, oh, this is the Krav defense. I mean, I tell you because I want to give credit where credit is due.
Right.
But don't label it the Krav defense. Think of it as motion. And here's another opportunity. Here's another option. Here's another tactical option for you. Right. And that's what I've done. I do that with some of the Krava Maga defenses. I do that with some of the Gracie JiuJitsu defenses.
Nice.
And I try to plug in wherever I see that maybe one self-defense attack in particular hasn't been addressed. I'll plug it in. So try to give them as many tools in their toolbox as possible. That's it.
Nice.
Giving them experiences. That's all you can do. Right?
Nice. Very nice. I like that. Okay, we have a couple more comments here. Sifu Carlos Hernandez says Sifu Magnan is like an encyclopedia of different arts.
I'm kind of a nerd about this stuff, man. I'm always reading. Every night that I go to bed, I have some kind of reading material on martial arts or personal development. Those are my two things that I'm always reading.
Nice.
I think they go.
Nice. Guru Catherine Sumter says, would love to know more about the overlap with Kenpo and stick fighting. Sounds like a whole other show. Thank you, sirs.
Absolutely. I mean, when you look at the footwork alone, our front foot to back foot switch and back foot to front foot switch are very similar. Or you could say are very similar to the male and female triangle as used in Kali. Very similar, right? A lot of the gunting motions, I mean, we see it in leaping crane.
Leaping crane, yeah.
Right? Some people attack, the floating rib or whatever, and I like to attack the bicep or right underneath the tendon of the tricep with the gunting or scissoring motion that's found in Kali. So it's a beautiful, and there's a lot of guys out there doing it. I mean, look at Epperson is one of them. Master Epperson he's got a great thing going right now. I got a chance to meet him at the Brotherhood event. He's got a great thing going now with his Kenpo Kali, and he's under Grandmaster Huck Planis, phenomenal martial artist that is blending those two arts seamlessly right now. It's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing, and with the jiu-jitsu as well. It's important to understand the ground. I don't like to hang out on the ground. Some people just, they say, oh, Gracie Jiu-Jitsu is everything. And let me tell you, it's made a huge impact in my life, Gracie Jiu-Jitsu, and in my training with the Valente brothers. And it's been amazing. But I don't want to necessarily hang out on the ground if I don't need to. And contrary to what a lot of Jiu-Jitsu practitioners think, the Valente brothers don't advocate that either. They don't advocate going to the ground all the time, contrary to what a lot of people think. They believe that it's important, depending on the situation, to know how to grapple to be able to stay standing up. And if you do end up on the ground, how can I most effectively and efficiently get back up to my feet? To assess for multiple a mass attack situation, so I can see all around me, so I can access my weapon, whatever the case may be.
Wow.
Now I haven't taken it as far as, for example, what Speakman has done, where he created Kenpo 5.0,
right?
Which I think is an admirable thing. I think it's amazing. I think it's awesome that he's done that. I myself preferred to keep my jiu-jitsu separate.
Yeah.
And completely empty my cup when I'm in jiu-jitsu.
Yep.
Not try to have the Kenpo lens.
I like that approach as well. Yep.
Yeah, or the Kenpo filter always telling me, oh no, this is wrong. This is wrong. I didn't want to do that.
Nice.
I completely immersed myself in Gracie JiuJitsu, just like I completely immersed myself in Muay Thai, just like I completely immersed myself in Krava Maga, without being one of those like, well, you're not checking the width, and I'm not really controlling the height, because then just might as well don't do anything else then, if
That's
you're gonna
valid, of course.
Yeah, and if you're gonna have a hidebound mentality about all that, it's better just stick to one art then. Okay,
sure.
There's nothing wrong with that either. That's awesome as well. Kenpo's phenomenal.
Yeah. Sure.
But yeah, it all has value. It all has value. I did a recent video, well, not too recent, a few years ago, of what kind of fight are you in? What kind of altercation are you in? Are you in a ground fight? Are you in a stand-up fight? Are you in a weapons fight on the ground? Are you in a knife engagement? It's important to understand every range and be proficient in it. I spent a lot of time going. We have a park nearby called Tamiami Park where they have a boxing club. When's the last time you walked into a boxing gym and box with boxers? And I'm not talking about, you don't need to be an amateur fighter and have a bunch of fights under your name in the ring, but at least get in there, get in a ring, and spend some hours sparring with guys that are trained in boxing. You know what I'm saying? Spend some hours with grapplers, rolling. Spend some hours with collie guys that can slice you and dice you in a second. Pressure test your stuff is the way I view it.
Nice.
And if it's kind of like the whole is greater than the sum of the parts, but it's important to compartmentalize as well. And once you've understood each game, then bring it into the mix.
Nice. Okay, we have a couple of people commenting here. Let's see. Pure Technique says, one of my favorite things in this world is the universal pattern patch. It is the compass of motion.
Yes, absolutely.
Says, I am a first-degree black. There you go. Nice. He says, I am a first-degree black belt in Jeff Speakman Kenpo 5.0, and I agree on keeping the jiu-jitsu separate. Interesting.
Okay, interesting perspective there.
Nice. Grandmaster Joe Ribello. Hi, folks. Really enjoying learning about your martial arts journey. Hello, sir.
Thank you, sir. Nice of you to tune in.
Thank you. Josh Gosh says hello from New Mexico.
How you doing, Josh?
Yeah, that's it's so cool. We are running out of time, my friend.
Oh, time has flown.
Yeah,
I think
it does. No, that's good. That's what the show about. I mean, that's why it's coffee and martial arts. It should be coffee and martial arts stories, but yeah, that's what it is. I mean, and this is amazing. I enjoy the learning about your journey as well, sir. And I always learn a lot from my guests. I really, really do. It helps me get new perspectives from new experiences and different points of views. And if you keep an open mind and open heart, you will learn a lot. I can guarantee that.
Absolutely.
Josh says, study Kenpo here, going for second-degree black belt.
Awesome.
Nice. So before we go, sir, anything else you want to add? And I want to ask you, what are your current goals? I mean, what are you looking for in the martial arts as a teacher and a practitioner?
Okay. Currently, and I've been at this for a while. You know, some of my good friends will tell you, man, you've been at this for a long time. Just get it out there already. For years, I've been putting together a system.
Okay.
And it's a very detailed, taking all of my experiences and codifying it into a system,
Nice.
breaking it down by level. So far, I'm up to green belt level of how I've broken everything down. And what I've been trying to do is eventually put stuff out there for those that want to have someone that maybe they're in a remote location, maybe there's no Kenpo schools around, or maybe they want someone to kind of do the homework that maybe they haven't had time to do. I've gone out there, I've tried the different systems, I've immersed myself in the different systems.
Nice.
There's nothing that bothers me more than seeing a Kenpo practitioner that if you put boxing gloves on him and hand his partner some focus mitts, that they look robotic, that they've never thrown a jab or a cross in their life.
Interesting.
I think I can add that to people's game, whether it's in Kali, in trapping, whether it's in tactical options from Krava Maga, or some of the most effective elbows and knees from Muay Thai. I've put this all seamlessly into a system which I want to get out there to the masses. It's taken me a long time. You know, like I said, I'm a school teacher full-time. I graduate on the 25th, actually, with my master's degree in educational leadership. I'm excited about that, to be a school administrator. So I'm trying to fit all that in while having 3 boys that treat my house like a WWE ring every day, beating the daylights out of each other. This, you see all this gray hair?
Yep.
It comes from them. So
Sure.
So I try to fit in wherever I have time. I call them dynamic time zones. Wherever I have time to fit in, to work on my curriculum and lay it out in a platform where people can maybe subscribe to it or join my association and have access to what I do and the way I do it. That's what I spend my time on, you know. That's
okay.
what I spend.
And that brings me to the next question. Sorry. Where can they reach you?
You can reach me through my Magnan Martial Arts Facebook page, Magnan Martial Arts, School of Self-Defense. Yep. Or you can reach me through Messenger on Facebook.
Okay.
I also have a TikTok. Yeah, believe it or not, remember, I'm a teacher, and I see all these young people that love TikTok. So I recently started a TikTok where I haven't been very active on it, but I put some stuff up there. Some of my guys training and doing things. And I'm trying to think what else. I also have an Instagram page, Magnan Martial Arts. You can reach me there. Before we close, I wanted to mention something because I think it's important to mention it as well. I didn't want to pass through that. In 2012, Mr. Kelly promoted me to my first. In 2014, you know, Mr. Kelly is an hour and a half away from me. It became very difficult. After spending 14 years with him, I was running my commercial school, going to school. I mean, the kids were young. My oldest now was very young. I had a lot on my plate. It was hard to get up there and do privates with him. And actually, with his encouragement, he said, "Hey, listen, I understand. Why don't you continue with Grandmaster Reyes?" And you know, Master Manny Reyes was gracious enough to take me in and help me go through the motions and demonstrate my knowledge of the system, and awarded me my second degree in 2014. I didn't want to miss out on Grandmaster Reyes because it was actually kind of coming full circle.
Nice.
I started with Sifu Ray.
Uh-huh.
And then I ended up with Sifu Ray's teacher, Grandmaster Manny Reyes, for my second degree.
Nice.
And ultimately got my third degree in 2018. Okay, but I didn't want to miss out on mentioning Master Manny Reyes. Okay.
So cool. Yeah. Great. Amazing. Let's see. We have a couple of comments here before we go. Ismael says it is important to train techniques and the body very hard because it's going to increase the energy in the practitioners. And it's going to be more realistic. I like that from the Krava Maga. Not only to know a lot is enough. Congratulations. Very nice interview.
Thank you, sir. Absolutely. Yes.
Sifu Carlos Hernandez says, great interview, guys. Thank you. Yes, had a great time. Ismael, sorry for my spelling. I don't have my lens. It's okay, my friend. It's your second language. It's good. I understand. I really do. Mr. Josh Gosh says, Mr. Soto met you in Texas through Mr. Bueller. Wow, cool. I had a back brace on back then. Yes, I remember. I learned a lot from you during seminar. Yeah, that was, I think it was 2015. I believe so. So thank you, sir. Thank you for commenting and thank you for being here. Well, I got to say, thank you so much, Sifu. For your time and for sharing all of your knowledge and your experiences. This is so cool. Like I said, I learn a lot from this. I always do. And yeah, you should put your curriculum out there. I agree. You should. I mean, we need a lot of that. It's positive. Everything that adds and multiplies into the art, I'm all for it. I really am.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, I want to thank you. It really has been an honor. I've enjoyed it. We got deeper than I thought into things. I was able to talk quite a bit about my journey. Had a great time. Thanks for all those that chimed in, and let's do it again, man. I loved it. Had a great time. Those are all of you that chimed in. Anyone wants to get a hold of me, like I mentioned before, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, you name it. I'm pretty much on there. And I just love getting together and banging with people. Some of you out there, they know, those that have trained with me, and I love to bang, get out there and hit hard. Like we did at the Brotherhood event. Oh man, we worked really nicely. And so it's been a pleasure and an honor, and look forward to speaking to you again sometime, man. I've followed you for a long time.
Wow.
Long time, yeah. I've seen videos of you forever, and I love your videos on the.
Sorry about that.
What's it called? Your body armor. When you talk
armor, yeah, bioarmor, yeah.
Yes.
And, yes. Cool.
I love your stuff, man. So you're doing a great thing with this.
Thank you, sir. Okay, we have a couple more comments before we go. Josh says, "Yes, sir. Yes, it was. Yes, sir. Thank you. Salute to you, sir. Thank you." Sifu Carlos says, we need Master Soto to visit down here in Miami. Yeah, I've never been to Miami, so yes, I would love to.
You've never been?
No, I've never been to Miami.
Wow. No. You got to come.
Thank you. Yes. Mr. Capone says he hits hard.
Well, Tony doesn't hit too light either.
Oh,
I got aim on when I go up against Tony. He likes to
like a
big guys.
He likes big guy, yeah. Yeah. Well, thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much for your time, and thank you everybody for watching this. And yes, we'll talk again. So we'll set up a date to bring you back in here for sure.
Awesome. Sounds good. Thank you, guys.
Sir.
Boom.
Thank you, everybody. Take care and see you soon. Bye-bye.